Great.
Right. So as part of this basic programming, so far, what are the things we discussed is we have discussed about write statement, data statement, constants, okay, parameters, okay, and we have seen some data types, integer, pack, character, date, time kind of thing, okay. So these are the statements we have seen so far. So in every programming language, just like C, C++, in ABAP also, we have conditional and looping statements. Okay. So we have conditional and looping statements. So if you take a conditional statements, we have if else, okay, we have case, end case, okay, if else, case, end case, and we have check statement. These are called as conditional statements. Then we have something called as looping statements. So later these looping statements, we have while, end while, okay, while, end while, we have do, end do, we have loop, end loop, and we have select, end select. Okay, these are called as looping statements. So let us see some examples on this. So coming to this looping statements, we cannot discuss loop and end select at this stage. This comes at later point during the course when we get into internal tables and database programming. So just leave this loop and select aside. We'll discuss later on. First, let us see this conditional statement. So as the name itself suggests, conditional statements are used for what? Condition check. If you want to check any conditions, we can go for what? Conditional statement. So last class, we have seen how to read the user input. How to read the user input. So here, this is a requirement. Very simple. When we execute the ABAP report, we should get the selection screen. Okay. On the selection screen, we should have some input fields, something like this. We have to enter some first number, second number, and some choice. So what is the validation here? Based on the choice we enter, based on the third input field value, I need to perform the appropriate operation. Okay, if I enter 1, I need to perform the addition. If I enter 2, I should perform the difference. 3 means product, 4 means division. Okay, and this result, okay, this result I want to display in what? LPS screen or in the what? Information dialog box. So last class I gave some assignment. So some of them have replied. Rohit, Sai, and either Syed, either I think they have replied. Yeah, whatever you have done is absolutely fine. So LPS, and I need to display that in what? Information, what? Dialog box. Okay. So depending on the choice we enter. So what I want is, I need to implement this logic. I want to implement both by using if and if, and also using what? Case and case. So why I should use conditional statements here? Because depending on the value I entered, depending on the choice I entered, if I enter the choice as 1, I should perform 2. If I enter the choice as 2, I should perform division. So depending on the choice, depending on the input, I need to check some conditions. So whenever we want to check the conditions, we'll go for what? Conditional statements. Okay, so let's see that. So as usual, I'll go to ABAP editor, C38. What is the object name? Z830 program, something 5. Done. So create. I'll provide some title. I'll give the title as something conditional and looping statements. Right. What is the type of program? Executable program. Let us save it. I'll save it in the local object. Done. So what is the initial requirement here? we need to generate the selection screen to read what? Three input values. So last class you have seen, for reading the user input, we will declare the variables by using what? Parameter statement, which will generate the selection screen. So how many input values you have to read? Three input values of type integer. So I'll take three integers. So I'll say parameters. I'll use the chain operator, p underscore x type I. I'll provide some default values also. So I'll say default something 20. Okay. I'll make that field as obligatory. Okay. Means compulsory field. Then p underscore y type I. I'll give some default value 15. I'll give it as something obligatory. Then p underscore choice, some variable name type what? Integer. This also I'll make it as obligatory. Obligatory means compulsory field. So check for the syntax error, no errors, activate. So when I execute, we have seen in the last class, what are the parameter variable names I gave? The same names will appear as it is. P underscore x, P underscore y, and P underscore ch. But we have to keep the end user in mind. I have to provide the meaningful selection text. Understood? I have to provide the meaningful selection text. How do I provide here? I'll choose the menu go to. Already we have discussed last class. Go to text elements, selection text. After activating the program, choose the menu within the program, go to text element, selection text. Provide the meaningful text, whatever you want. So p underscore ch, I'll enter it as something, enter choice 1, 2, 3, 4. P underscore x, let me enter it as first number. P underscore y, enter second number. Active, save your selection text, activate the text, go back, better activate the program once again. So when I execute, yeah, I got the meaningful text. So here I enter the choice. If I enter the choice as 5, okay, I have to give a message saying that invalid choice, something like this. If I enter 2, I need to perform the difference. Okay, as of now, when I click on the execute button, I am not getting any result. So depending on the choice value I entered, either 1, 2, 3, 4, I should perform the appropriate operation. So to store the calculation, I require one variable. Na? I need to perform either addition or difference or product or division. So I require what? One variable. How do I declare that variable? By using what? Data keyword. If I use parameters, again one more input field will be shown on the screen. But I have to use that variable for storing the calculated results. That is the reason I'll declare that variable by using data keyword. Data, let me say some variable name, v underscore result. Any name you give whatever you want. Okay, so I'll give it as v underscore res type what? Integer. Right. So what is the requirement now? Based on the third input field value. In our case, what is that input field variable name? P underscore ch. Based on this variable value, I have to check the conditions and I have to perform the calculations. How do I do it now? To check the conditions, just like in C, C++, Java, here also, we have what? If statement. We have a conditional statement, if else. So I'll say if what is the variable? P underscore choice. If P underscore choice is equal to 1, I have to perform the addition, and that calculated result I have to store it in which variable? Res. So I'll say v underscore res is equal to p underscore x plus p underscore y. After performing the calculation, I'll display it. So I'll say write. Already we know about the write statement. Okay. So instead of using the write statement, last class I told to try to display the results in what? Information dialog box. I can do it in multiple ways. We'll discuss one by one based on the what requirement. So I'll go for this syntax message. I'll use the pipe symbol. Understood? Pipe symbol, and I'll say sum of what? Two numbers is in the floor brackets I'll say V underscore res. Close the flower brackets, close the pipe symbol, type uppercase I, information message. Okay, so let's see whether it works or not. So when I do syntax check, I got the error in the 11th line. Message so and so in string template without following space. So someone in the mail sent me the syntax like this. You have to do this adjustment. You have to give space. You have to give minimum what? One space. Let's see whether it works or not. Save it. Check for the syntax error. Yeah, I got a different error. Incorrect nesting before the end of the program. The control structure introduced by if must be concluded with what? ENDIF. So if you take our C language, C++ and Java, how do you use the if else? You'll say if condition one, understood? If condition one, you'll open the flower brackets, you'll write some set of statements. Okay, you'll close this. And then here you'll say else if some condition two. Okay, like this, we'll write what? Multiple conditions, one after the other. Here we don't have flower bracket, so here I have to say end for if is what? End if. Before that, I'll check another condition. What is that? Else if. If the first condition is not satisfied, I have to perform the second operation. So here I'll say so and so. Again, else if choice equal to so and so, else if so and so. Else means if none of the condition is satisfied, I'll just give the message. Please enter choice as what? One or two or three or four. Type of message is what? Information message. End for if is what? End if. Okay. So else if p underscore choice equal to 2, I need to perform what? Difference. So here I'll say difference of what? Two numbers is so and so. If the choice value is 3, I'll perform the product. I'll give the message as well. Product of two numbers is so and so. If choice is 4, I'll perform the division. Here I'll say division of two numbers is so and so. Let me save it. Check for the syntax error. Activate. Okay, it is activated. Okay, let me try to execute. Okay, these are my input values. I'll enter something 7. I don't have any condition for this 7. Okay, I don't have any conditions for this 7. So when I execute, yes, I got the message. Please enter choice as what? 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Right? So let me go back. I'll enter the choice as 3. Okay, I got the product. Product of two numbers is 300. Okay, I'll enter the choice as something 2. Difference of two numbers is what? 5. Okay, I'll enter something 20 and 67. I'll give the choice as what? I got the addition is what? 87. Sum of two numbers is 87. Okay, I'll enter something 2 here. 20 minus 67. When I execute, what is the result? I got difference of two numbers is minus 47. Minus 47. So I got the result working fine. So how it will be executed internally? See here. These things comes under what? Variable declarations. Okay, this what are highlighted, they are what? Variable. When I execute, I got some, I'll enter some choice here 3. I got some product of sum of two product of two numbers is 300. So what I want is, I want to understand how the program is getting executed internally. I want to understand the flow of program execution, how the control is flowing within the program. So what we have to do is, to understand the flow of program execution, we need to debug the programs. Understood? We need to debug the programs. Okay, so why this debugging is important is, in the real time also, you might have developed some reports with some 10,000 lines. Okay, with some 10,000 lines of code, you might have developed some report. We have tested it's working fine. Customer has started using that report. Now, later on in the near future, customer will ask us, will give a new requirement. Okay, so to implement that new requirement, in the existing report, I need to do the changes. Understood? So assume that I am an ABAP consultant. I developed some 10,000 lines of code 6 months back. I have tested it working fine. Customer is also happy. He has started using that. After 1 year, customer will come up with a new requirement. In the same report, he will come up with a new requirement, new validations. So in order to implement that new requirement in the existing report, I need to debug the program. Okay, so I'm another ABAP consultant now. I need to implement that new requirement. That report is developed by some other consultant 2 years back. After 2 years, that existing report I need to modify. Okay, and that report has got some 10,000 lines of code. Am I clear? So, if you read that 10,000 lines of code, we will not understand anything. Understood? By reading the program 100 times also, we will not understand complete thing. So what you will do, we will debug the program. We will understand how the control is flowing in the program. By debugging, you can understand where to implement the logic, in which area of the program we need to implement the logic, or what changes you have to do. What is the new code we have to add? What is the existing code you have to modify? What is the unnecessary code which we need to delete? So to do all these changes, I must debug the program. Okay, so debugging is very important. Debugging is a daily routine for an ABAP consultant. So don't think that ABAP consultant means every time we will develop the program. Okay, every time we may not develop the program from the beginning. We may be required to modify the existing programs which are already developed by some other ABAP consultant. So we need to understand how the control is flowing. For that purpose, we need to debug the program. So in this case also, I want to understand the flow of my program execution. So in order to debug the program, first of all, we need to activate your program. After activating the program, we need to set the breakpoint at the desired place. We need to set what? Breakpoint at the desired place. So what is the purpose of breakpoint is, whenever a breakpoint is set and when we start the program execution, whenever that breakpoint is encountered, the program execution will be stopped and the control will be taken to the debugging mode. Once a control is taken to the debugging mode, we can start debugging the program by using different function keys. I repeat once again, in order to debug the program, these points are very important. I'm going very slowly. This debugging will be same for any module, whether it is Core ABAP, Oops ABAP, Cross Apps, WebDim Pro, anything, any code related to SAP, the debugging process will remain same. So try to focus. So what is the purpose of debugging? By debugging, we can understand the flow of program execution. We can understand where the variable values are getting modified, getting deleted, all those things. Okay. So in order to debug the program, we need to set the breakpoint at the appropriate place. Okay. At the appropriate place means suppose 10,000 lines of code is there. I am not interested to debug the entire 10,000 lines of code. I want to debug. I want to start the debugging from the some 600th line. From the 600th line, I want to debug. So what I'll do, I'll go to that particular line number and I'll set the breakpoint. Understood? So since we are very new to SAP, since we are very new to ABAP, very new to debugging, let us start debugging the program from the beginning. Anyhow, our program size is very less. So we'll start debugging from the beginning. But in the real time, generally what happens, we may not be debugging the whole program. Okay, we might be debugging some specific parts of the program. So no one will tell us to debug this area, that area. It comes by experience. By analyzing the program, we should able to understand from where you have to debug. If you are unable to understand, you debug from the beginning and come to a conclusion what is the exact area where I need to do the changes. Okay. So in this case also, I am interested to debug the program from the beginning. We cannot debug variable declarations. We can debug only executable statements. I repeat, we cannot debug variable declarations. We can debug only executable statements. So these lines, they are nothing but variable declarations. Na? I cannot debug. I can debug only what executable statements. I want to start debugging from the ninth line. From the ninth line, I want to debug. Okay. So we have to set the breakpoint. In order to set the breakpoint, the program should be in active mode. No? I can activate the program only if there are no syntax check. If there are no syntax errors, then only I can activate the program. What is the current status of my object here? It is showing it as what? Inactive. Okay. So I'll try to set the breakpoint on the ninth line. There are multiple ways of setting the breakpoint. We'll discuss one by one as and when required. I will not discuss all the things at a time. Okay. So in order to set the breakpoint at the ninth line, one of the ways, I'll put the cursor anywhere on the ninth line, anywhere on the ninth line. On the application toolbar, we have a button what? Set or delete session breakpoint. Okay, on the application toolbar, we have the button set or delete session breakpoint. Click on this button. Put the cursor on the appropriate line and click on the button set or delete session breakpoint. So if I click on this, observe this. If I click on this, I got a message on the status bar. What is that? You can only set the breakpoints in an active unchanged source. So the object should be in what? Active state. When we can activate? Only if there are no syntax errors. Anyhow, we don't have syntax errors. So once again, I'll save it. Check for the syntax errors. Control F2. I'll activate that. Control F3. Done. It is activated. Now I'll set the breakpoint. I'll put the cursor here on the ninth line. I'll set the breakpoint. So you can see left hand side, I got one red color icon here. A breakpoint has been set. On the status bar also I got the message session breakpoint is set. Right? So breakpoint has been set. Now what you have to do? You have to start executing the program. So when I execute, when I press F8, since my program contains parameter statement, it is generating the selection screen for reading the user input. So I'll enter the value as something 23 and something 11. I'll enter the choice as 3. I'll enter the choice as 3. Right? So these are my input values. I'll click on the execute button. Right? On the application toolbar, I'm having the execute button F8. If I click on this, earlier we got the result. Now what is happening? Control is going to the debugging mode. Earlier, when there were no breakpoints, I got the end result. Now since the breakpoint has been set at some ninth line, the control is taken to a debugging mode. This screen, whatever we are seeing, it is called as a debugging mode. Those are very new to SAP. Try to focus. Those who already know ABAP a little bit, or if you are comfortable with ABAP, you may feel boring, but still I need to start from very basic level. So this screen is called as what? Debugging screen. Okay. So here we will have many buttons, many tabs, many tabs. Again, it is not possible to discuss all the tabs, all the buttons at a time. What are the important tabs, important buttons are there? We'll be covering it as part of the course. Okay, it cannot be covered on a single day. We cannot understand also. Okay, so now the control has taken to what? Debugging mode. For a better look and feel, I will switch my view to desktop 3. We have different views here. desktop 1, desktop 2, we have different tabs. What is the default tab highlighted? Standard. I can debug here also, but I am comfortable with what desktop 3. So I'll switch to what? Desktop 3. You will have a different look and feel. I'll click on desktop 3. Yeah, this look and feel I feel better. So left hand side, I'm having my program source code. Right hand side, it is going to show me the variable declarations. Okay, variables which are part of my program. Right. So what I did so far, I gave the breakpoint at the 9th line. I have executed the program. The moment that breakpoint is encountered, the control is transferred to debugging mode. For a better look and feel, I switched my view to a desktop 3. Right? So in my program, how many variables are there? Some 4 variables: p underscore x, p underscore y, p underscore ch, and v underscore res. So during debugging, we can check the values of the variables. During debugging, we can check the values of the variables. So you can see a right hand side, we have the tabs here, variables 1, variable 2, like that. We have different tabs here. I'll go to variables 1 only. So if I double click on this variable left hand side, if I double click on this p underscore x, that p underscore x will appear here. If I double click on this, yeah, what is that it is showing? Variable p underscore x. What is the current value in that variable? 23. If I double click on p underscore y, what is the value? 11. Okay, I can double click or you type that variable. I'll type it manually, p underscore choice. What is the default value for, okay. What is the choice? I entered 3. Then what is the other variable? V underscore res. No? V underscore res is as of now 0. Already we know integers by default will contain zeros. So these are my current values in my program variables. I'm having some 4 variables. I've listed that variables in the right hand side just to understand at what stage what variable value is getting changed. Right? So before I proceed further, any questions up to this point?
Sir, if we want to perform the positive if we want to get positive numbers only in the second case, what will it do?
Positive numbers in the sense?
Uh, then
Where?
p underscore x is bigger than p underscore y. Then only the condition executed.
No, it's not that. Suppose once again. Okay, so what you are saying here, I'll enter first number as less number. Like this you are saying,
Yes, sir.
it will
And,
accept.
no, sir. If I want
Hmm.
to get positive numbers only when performing second condition,
Okay, okay. Means difference value you are saying.
difference value I should get in positives only. If it is negative, I don't want you to perform.
Okay, will that we have to write further conditions for that. Okay, we'll see that.
Okay.
We'll see by end of today's session, we'll understand that. Okay, right.
Okay, sir.
So what I'll do is let me debug once again. Yeah, any other questions before I continue? Any other questions? Okay, so once again, see, I'm setting the breakpoint at the 9th line. Execute. I'll enter some values here, 33 and something 11. I'll enter the choice as 3. Done. Execute. The moment it has encountered the breakpoint, it has taken the control to debugging mode. For a better look and feel, I'll go to what? Desktop 3, right? I want to check the values of the variables in the debugging mode. So I'll double click on these variables. P underscore x is 33, P underscore y is 11, P underscore choice I believe I entered 3, V underscore rs is by default what? 0. Done. Where is the cursor now? You can see left hand side. Yellow color arrow pointer is there. Left hand side. Small icon is there. In the ninth line, left hand side, where I set the breakpoint, yellow color arrow point is there. Means it is about to execute this statement. Since I gave the breakpoint there, it has stopped there. It is about to execute this statement. What is the statement it is checking here? If p underscore choice equal to 1, what is the value of p underscore choice? I entered 3 now. So this condition is failed. This if condition is failed because I am checking for what? Choice value as 1. But I entered the choice value as 3 na? So if the first if condition is failed, it will not enter this if block. Without entering this if block, it will go to the next condition in the queue. Control will jump to a 12th line. In the 12th line, I am checking another condition. Na? If choice equal to 2, no, choice is what 3. Na? Again, this else if condition is failed. It will not enter this if block. Without entering it, it will jump to the next condition in the queue. It will jump to the 15th line. It will check whether choice value is 3. Yes, choice value is 3. Na? Yes, condition is what? Satisfied. If the condition is satisfied, what happens? It will enter that block, it will perform the product, it will display this particular result. That is what will happen now. So where is the cursor now? Cursor is at the 9th line. So I have to execute one statement. So we are in the debugging mode. We are in the debugging mode. So in the debugging mode, once a control enters into the debugging mode, we can use different function keys. You can see on the top left hand corner on the application toolbar, okay, we have what? Single step is what? F5. Okay, F6 is what? Execute. F7 is what? Return. F8 is what? Continue. These are the 4 function keys which I can use in the debugging mode. What is the difference between this? Again, we cannot understand in a single session. So forget about other buttons. Just focus on single step. What is that? F5. F5. So in the next 2-3 weeks, we will be covering these 4 buttons. Okay. So as of now, let us restrict our discussion only to what? F5. What is this F5 here? Single step. So to execute single step at a time, we have to press what? F5. I can press F5 on my keyboard or click on this button, single step. Where is the cursor now? It is about to execute the 9th statement. What is that 9th statement? It is checking the condition whether choice is equal to 1. What is the value of choice variable in the memory? 3. Na? So condition is failed. Na? So when I say F5, it will try to execute this step. Since this step is if condition, since the condition not satisfied, it will go to the next condition in the queue. So I'll press F5 on my keyboard. I'm pressing F5. See where the control jumps. Since the if condition is failed, it will jump to the next condition in the queue. That is 12th line. I'm pressing F5. See what happens. Yes, control has jumped to what? 12th line. It is checking this condition. Choice equal to 2 or no. In the memory, current value of choice is what? 3. So this condition also failed. Na? Let me press F5. F5 will execute what? Single step. Since that step condition is false, it will go to the next else if. I'll say F5. Yes, it has jumped to what? 15th line. Here I am checking another condition. If choice equal to 3, yes. In the memory also choice value is 3. Na? So this else if condition is satisfied. Since this else if condition is satisfied, it will enter this else block. So when I say F5, it will execute that single step. Since the condition is satisfied, it will enter that else if block. It will go to the 16th line. I'll say F5. Yes, it is going to the 16th line. It has entered that else if block because the condition is satisfied. Then here, what is the current step here? We are performing the product x into y. Am I clear? So it will perform the product. It will store that result in RES. What is the value of P underscore X at this stage? 33. P underscore Y is 11. What is the value of RES? 0. So I am performing some calculation and that calculated value will be stored in what? RES. Means this 0 will be overwritten with the calculated value. So when I say F5, yes, what is the value of RES in the memory now? 363. 363. So it has performed that. Then it has to execute that message statement. Na? It has to execute that message statement. So I'll say F5. Observe here. As of now, where is the control? Control is in my program. In my program, fifth program. Now I am about to execute a statement called as message. This is a predefined statement given by SAP to display the results in the what information dialog box kind of thing. So I'll say F5. How do we execute one step? F5. So see what happens. Since it has to execute the message statement, when I press F5, what happened? It has taken the control to some standard program. SAP is a predefined ERP package. You'll have many standard programs internally. It has taken the control to some standard program. Okay, don't try to understand this logic. This logic we have not written. This is a logic written by SAP. So don't try to understand this logic. You cannot understand. I cannot understand. Okay, so ignore this. Later on, we'll see how to debug the standard code, but ignore this at this stage. Right? So where is the control now? Control has gone to some standard program. Why the control has gone to standard program? Because I press F5 on the message statement. That message statement has got some inbuilt code internally. It is executing that code. Don't try to understand this code. We cannot understand. Okay. So I want the control to come out of this program. I want the control to come out of the standard program. So to make the control to come out of the current program, press F7. On your keyboard, you press what? F7, return it since. F7. So let me press F7. I am not interested to debug this code. If you are interested to debug this code, here also I can press F5. But what you will do in debugging this doesn't make sense. So I'll say F7. I'll say F7. When I say F7, see here, I'm pressing F7. It has taken the control back to my program. That's all. So when I say F5 now, it is going to some standard code again. I'll say F7. It is going to some other standard code. I'll say F7. So till you get that result, you press F7. What is that I got? Product of two numbers is 363. That's all. Again, the control is after displaying the message. Control is again going to what? Some standard code. So I'll say F7. That's it. Okay. It has taken the control back to my program. I'll say F5. That's all. There are no further conditions here. F5. It is going to some standard code. Press F7. F7. Done. I got back the control to what? Selection screen. Okay. So what you have to understand for the time being is, in case if the control is shifted to some standard program from your program, to come out of that, press F7. How many times means till the control is taken back to your program, you keep on pressing what? F7. Is it clear? So by debugging, what I analyze now, what are the variables, at what stage the variables are getting updated, all those things. Once again, I'll repeat. Observe here. Once I'll repeat. Execute. I'll enter the choice as something 8. I'll enter the choice as 8. When I execute, yes, it has taken the control to the debugging mode. For a better look and feel, I'll switch to what? Desktop 3. Right. So what is that variable? P underscore X is 20, P underscore Y is 15, P underscore choice is what? 8, V underscore RES is at this stage what? 0. I'm checking the condition. If choice equal to 1, what is the value of choice? 8 na? So if condition is failed, since it is failed, it will jump to the next condition in the queue. How do you execute one statement? Press F5. I'm pressing F5 on my keyboard. It is going to 12th line. This condition also failed. I'll press F5. Since it is failed, it will go to the next condition in the queue. Okay? I'll press F5. This also is failed. Choice value is what? 8 na? I'm checking for choice equal to 4. This is also failed. I'll say F5. So if none of the if conditions are satisfied, control will go to the else block. So when this else block gets executed, when none of the above else if conditions are satisfied, control jumps to else block. So when I say F5, yes, control is directly jumping to the else block. Okay, done. It has to execute the message statement. Na? I'll say F5. Okay, it will take the control to some standard code. I'll say F7. Then again, I'll say F5. Again, it is going to some standard code. I'll say F7. F7. I got the result. Please enter the choice as what 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Again, it is going to some standard code. I'll say F7. That's all. F5. Right. Again, F7. F7. Then I got back the selection script. So F5 will execute one statement at a time. When you have to press F7, in case if the control is transferred to some standard program or to some other program, to come out of that particular program, press F7. How many times means till the control has came back to your program. How do you remove this breakpoint? Again, I'll put the cursor on the 9th line. Again, I'll click on the same button, set or delete session breakpoint. So breakpoint has been deleted. So if I activate once and execute, now since I didn't give any breakpoint, directly I'll get the result. Okay, division of two numbers is 1. Yeah, any questions up to this point? Okay, right. Now what I'll do is observe this carefully. Instead of giving the message here, I'll just comment. I'll use a write statement. Write difference of two numbers is, what is that variable? V underscore res. So instead of displaying the difference in the information dialog box, I'm going for what? Write statement, which will display the value on LPS. So save it, check for the syntax, activate. If it, I'll enter the 20 and 15, I'll enter the choice as 2. 2 is difference only, na? So when I execute, yes, I got the result. I got difference of two numbers is 5. Working fine. Working fine. Okay. I'll enter 20 and something, what? 20 and something 49. Enter the choice as 2. What is the expected result? Expected result is minus 29. So when I execute, what is the result I got? 29 minus. What is the output format I want? It has to show it as minus 29. According to our Indian format, will represent that minus symbol before the value, but it is getting as 29 minus. Suppose here, instead of using the write statement, I'll go for message only. Save it, check for the syntax, done, activate and execute. I'll enter some value, I'll enter same value, 2. What is the expected result? Minus 29. Na? So when I execute, what I got? Difference of two numbers is minus 29. So when I am displaying the negative value in the information dialog box, there is no issue. I repeat, when you are displaying the negative value in the information dialog box, I don't have any issue. But when you are displaying the negative value on the LPS, that hyphen symbol is displayed at the right hand side. Right? Why means no answer. SAP has designed like that. SAP is a German product. Might be in German, they might represent that negative value like that. Okay. So, but what is our requirement? I want that hyphen to be displayed before the value. Where I am having the problem? In the right statement. Na? So when we are having the problem, if the calculated value is a negative value, we are having the problem. So see what I'll do. I'll go for nested if. I'm doing the difference here, calculating the difference here. Here I'll say if V underscore res is greater, I'm using a relational operator. This is called as relational operators, less than, greater than, equal to. They're called as relational operators. If V underscore res is greater than or equal to 0, it is a positive value only. Na? So display it as this, no issues. Else, Else means what? It is understood that it is less than 0 now. If not greater than equal to 0, it is understood that it is less than 0. So else, here I'll write the logic. What is that logic? What is the issue we are getting? The message I don't have an issue, but the problem is in the what? LPS screen. So else block, when the control will come to else block, when the calculated result is what? Negative value. So else, I don't have any problem in the message. I'm having the problem in the right now. So I'll say difference of two numbers is V underscore RES. If you have remembered, if you have practiced related to the right statement, I used some additions like color, uh, left justified, right justified, using edit mask in the last couple of sessions. So here I'll say difference of two numbers is V underscore RES. I will use a option called as, I'll use an addition called as no sign. No sign. Okay, so sign symbol will be suppressed. Sign symbol will be removed from the right hand side. I'll keep it left hand side. So what I'll do, in the single quotes only I'll say hyphen. So already we know whatever we give in single quotes will be displayed as it is. Since I have to represent that as a negative value, I am printing that hyphen. Understood? Where I am writing the logic is else block. Else block means what? If the result is less than 0, there only I am saying no sign. So let's see whether it works or not. Save it, check for the syntax, done. Okay, if I enter 20 and 15, no problem. Anyway, it is a positive value only. It is a positive value. Difference of two numbers is 5. I'll enter 20 and something 28. Minus 8, na? The result is what? Minus 8. Earlier, what happened? I got 8 minus. So when I execute now, what happened? I removed that no sign. Na? I use the option no sign. So sign is removed after the value. That sign is coming in the left hand side. So if you don't want the representation like this, if you want both of them at a single place without any gap, use addition what? Left justified. Already we know that. By default, indices are right justified. So I'm using left justified. Save it, check for the syntax, done, execute this. Okay, I'll enter something. I'll enter 2 here, minus 68. Na? So when I execute, yes, I got minus 68. Still, I got a single gap between the hyphen symbol and what? This value. Actually, difference of two numbers is hyphen. Up to this is one value and 68 is another value. Na? So by default, it will maintain one space between the variable values. This is one variable, up to hyphen is one variable. 68 is stored in another integer variable. So by default, SAP will maintain one single gap between two variable values. So I don't want that gap also. So where I am getting the gap? Between hyphen and that RES. Na? So somewhere here after hyphen, I will use the option called as what? No gap, not working. Huh? Yeah, no gap. That's all. Okay, let me check, save it, check for the syntax. What is saying here? After difference of two numbers is hyphen, there must be a space. So there, it's a warning basically. It is not a what? Error. So it is giving error here. Okay. Let me give some space. Warning, no? I'm just giving the space. Save it. Check for the syntax. I don't have any warning also. Done. Activate. Execute this. I'll enter something 2. Okay, when I execute, what I got? Difference of two numbers is minus 17. I cannot use this no gap wherever I want. Suppose I'll remove it. I'll keep it here. Save it, check for the syntax. It is giving an error. Field no gap is unknown. So I cannot use it wherever I want. Use it before that variable, before that comma, no gap. So what I am trying to convey here is, depending on your output requirement, you have to use appropriate option. So here I am using what? Nested if within the if. Am I clear? So as someone, Jyoti asked what, if it is a positive value you want to display, negative value means don't display. So you comment this part. Don't write any else part. If the RES value is greater than 0 only, I'm printing that difference value. Otherwise, I'm not printing. Suppose now I'll execute. I'll enter something, what, 20 and 15. 20 minus 15 is 5, na? Positive value only, na? So I got what? 5. Suppose I'll enter something 20 and something 66. Minus 46, na? So I have not written the logic to display that negative value. So when I execute, nothing is happening. I'm not getting any result. Or else you give a message, else the result should be negative, something like that. But here generally we'll write like this. Okay, like that I can write what? Nested if within the if. Already we are in the if block, another nested if within the if. So what is the problem here? When you are printing the negative value in the right statement, by default the negative symbol will appear after the value. But according to our format, our requirement, I want that hyphen before the value. So I am using this particular appropriate additions. No gap, no sign, all those things. Yeah. Is it clear, Jyoti, whatever you asked?
Yes, sir. I got the point. Thank you.
Yeah. 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 Any other questions, others?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Sajat.
Yeah, while I was practicing, whenever I give space, it is not moving apart. It is just erasing the currently
Might
written
be,
statement.
might be on your keyboard. Here you can see on my, if you observe the status bar, what it is showing on my keyboard, INS, na? Can you see that?
INS, yes. Yes, yes.
INS means insert key is pressed. Okay. Suppose I'll press insert key again. Sorry, I'll not. I'll press some delete key. 1 second, press here. Yeah, I press insert button. What is the option I'm getting here? OVR. OVR means what? Overwrite. Overwrite. So see now, I'll put the cursor here. What is happening? It is overwriting, na? Is it clear, Sajat? It is overwriting.
Yes, yes, yes.
So make sure that you press insert button and you'll get INS here. INS. And then you do it. Okay, I repeat this. When you practice this syntax in some of the systems, in old versions or in some of the versions, it may not work. It will not work. So you'll get an error. So what you do at that stage is use right statement only till I cover the other syntax. Or else let me cover here only. I can do like this. Understood? I can do like this, or else let me do it for addition. So this is one way of displaying the results in what? Information dialog box. The another way is, already some of you have sent the mail to me. It's the same syntax which I'll follow. So where is the result stored? In what? RES. In RES. So what I'll do is, I'll declare one string variable, or else here I'll just comment it. I'll directly say, not message, sorry. I'll declare one string variable, data v underscore str, or I'll use a chain operator. I'll say some variable name, type what? String. String is nothing but what? Group of what? Characters. So b underscore str type string. I'll say here, try to understand. Concatenate. Before that, I'll say v underscore str equal to v underscore res. V underscore res is what type? Integer. This integer value I'm assigning it to what? String variable. Why? We'll understand now. I'll say concatenate. I will use a function. I'm having one statement called as concatenate. Concatenate, I'll say sum of what? Some text, sum of two numbers is. Okay, this is one value. This is one value. Another value I want to concatenate. Combine is what? This is str. So v underscore str. Okay, into same variable v underscore str. Am I clear? So concatenate. Concatenate means combine. Combine this value. This is one value. This is another value. What is this value? V underscore str is also what type? String. Suppose here, instead of assigning it to str, I'll directly say v underscore res. Okay, let me remove this. What I'm doing here, I'm concatenating this string. Anything you keep in single quotes is a string. This v underscore res is what type? Integer. But this concatenate statement function will always accept string arguments. But this is string, but this is not a string, it is a numeric variable. So when I do syntax check, I'm getting an error. What is error here? V underscore res must be a character type data object. It should be either character, alphanumeric, n means alphanumeric, we'll see that later on, or it can be date or time or what? String it seems. Okay, so if I do like this, it is giving me what? Syntax error. So what I'll do now, I will say, I'll assign that integers. Integer values I can assign it to what? String. Integer values I can assign it to string. Now I'll say concatenate. What is the text? Sum of two numbers is. Sum of two numbers is. What is that? V underscore str into V underscore str. Let's see that. Now I'll say message. What? V underscore str. Type what? Information message. So what is the understanding here? I'm concatenating this value and this string value, putting that in what? Again v underscore str. I'm printing that v underscore str in the information dialog box. So save it, check for the syntax, no errors. So I have done it for addition now. So let me cover this here. I'll say something 1. Okay, 20 plus 15. What I got? Sum of two numbers is 35. I want a space between this is and 35. Between is and 35, I want a space. So if I leave, if I do like this, I'm not getting the space. It is combining. So I'll say or here. I'll say here separated by. I will use addition called as separated by space. Separated by space, or I want to separate by at the rate. Whatever you want, you can give it. I want to separate by the delimiter what? Space. Done. Save it. Check for the syntax. No errors. When I execute, I'll enter something 1. Execute this. What I got? Sum of two numbers is 35. So why I covered this now only because if you practice this syntax in some of your systems, depending on the version, this syntax may not work. So if it doesn't work, don't panic, use this syntax. Am I clear? So this is the way to display the numeric values in the information dialog box. So what we understood today, how to debug the program. Okay, what is the purpose of debugging the program? To check the flow of what? Program execution one after the other. So what is the behavior of this if-else-if statements? What is the behavior? It will check the first if condition. If the first if condition is not satisfied, it will check the second if condition. Like that, conditions are checked one after the other till one of the conditions is satisfied. Am I clear? Till one of the conditions is satisfied, it will check the conditions. If none of the conditions are satisfied, control will go to what? Else block. Yes, any questions before I continue further?
Sir, yesterday while trying the assignment, I found that I wrote the data keyword statement without any type, sir. So what happens? It didn't give me any error.
By
So what happens?
default, it will take character. It takes character. Correct. What you are saying is data M you said. That's all, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So it will, if you don't specify any data type, by default it will take character. Now suppose I'll say M equal to, I'll say something what? ABC, for example. Okay. I'll try to print the value of M. Okay, save it, check. I'll comment this part. I'm commenting this. So I just declared a variable yum. I have not specified whether it is integer or character or so and so. By default, the data type is character, and by default, the size is 1 only. So when I execute this, when I say F8, I got what? The first character. What is the first character? A. Yeah, this is what you are getting, Syed. Same thing, na?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
yeah. So the default
Sir,
data type is character. Yes, Jyoti, tell me.
sir, while practicing, I used the intensified option.
Intensified, okay.
Uh, I didn't get the difference between inverse and
Yeah,
intensified.
yeah. That will come later on, Jyoti. I'll cover that. Okay.
Okay.
For that, we have to use other syntax. Uh, okay. We have
Okay.
something called as color ID, background color, foreground combinations. At that time, you can see the effect. Otherwise, if you directly use it, you will not have any errors, but you will not get any change also. That's what you are
Okay.
saying, na? Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Both are
Both are
both
looking
results
same.
are same. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to use it with some other combination that will come later on when we get into reports concept, because we require some
And
other background. Yeah.
intensified on also giving same result.
Same result. Yes, yes. There would be some options which should behave same as like other options. We have to use them with a proper combination. Then you'll see the
Oh,
difference.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions further? Others? Okay. Now quickly what I'll do is we have another conditional statement. What is this? Case end case. Case end case. So same program I want to do is by case and case. So if you know C, C plus Java, we have switch statement. Similar to switch statement, here we have what? Case and case. So same logic I want to do by using case and case. Let us quickly understand what is the difference. I'll just activate this. Let me do it in a separate program, or else I can do it in the same program. I'll do it in the same program. How do I do it? Observe this. I'll say case one. This is what if and if I used. Okay. Let me comment this. How to comment at a line? Select the block. Comment it. Done. Okay. So before I comment, let me copy it. Case two. What is that? Case and case. Done. 1 second, please. Yeah. Here I'll uncomment. So what is the change I'll do is, yeah, what is the change I'll do now? Instead of using if and if, I'll go for case and case. So what I'll do is, observe this. Here, so based on this choice value only, I have to perform the calculations. No? So here I'll say, instead of if here, I'll say case p underscore choice. What are the possible values that I want to enter? Either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. It's not that I have to enter 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 only. I can enter any values, but we are going to design the program like this. So I'll say when what? When one, do addition. Okay, same thing, rest of the story is same. Here I'll say what? When to do so and so. Okay, then here also I'll say when three, do so and so. Instead of using, where is it? Yeah, sorry, here. What is this? When four, do so and so. If I enter other than 1, 2, 3, 4, how do we control that? When others. When others means what is the understanding? If it is other than 1, 2, 3, 4, control goes to when others. Just like else block in case of if and if. Understood? So in between case and case, I can use if also. It's my wish. Depending on my requirement, I can check the conditions. Okay. So let's see the output. Save it. Check for the syntax. Sorry. End for the case is what? End case. So that's what the error I got. For the statement end if, there is no open structure introduced by end if. So here I have to say what? End case. Done. Save it. Check for the syntax. Done. Execute. F8, right? I'll enter some value 3. Okay, I got the product. What is the product of two numbers is 300. Let us quickly debug and understand how it is behaving differently from if else if. Okay, I'm not interested to debug the others. Any of you have commented it, we cannot debug. I'll put the breakpoint on the 41st line. I'll put the breakpoint on the 41st line. After activating the program, put the cursor on the 41st line, set what? Session breakpoint. So breakpoint has been set. Okay, so execute this. When I execute, yeah, I'll enter some value, something 23, 15. I'll enter the choice as 3. Okay, so when I execute, observe this carefully. By default, it is opening me some standard tab. I'll go to desktop 3. So quickly, I want to check my variables. P underscore X is 23. P underscore Y is what? 15. V underscore RES is what? 0. Okay, what is the value of choice I entered? Choice value is 3. Okay, done. So case P underscore choice. What is the value of this variable P underscore CH? 3 na? So it will check whether we have when 3. It will check whether we have when 3. Do we have when 3 in my logic? Yes. So control will directly jump to when 3. What is happening in case of if else if? It is checking the first if condition. If the first if condition is not satisfied, then only it is going to the second else if condition. If that is not satisfied, then it will go to the third condition. Like that, in case of if else if, conditions are cross checked at least till one of the conditions is satisfied. But whereas here, depending on this variable value, control will directly jump to what? Appropriate when block. So how do we execute one statement F5 na? Where is the cursor now? 41st line. What is the value of the variable P underscore choice? 3. So when I say F5, control is directly jumping to what? When 3. Because I am having that combination. So I am performing the product. F5. Yeah, I got the result. V underscore RS is equal to 345. So when I press F5, control will go to the standard code. Na? I'm not interested to go to that standard code and pressing F7, all those things. So directly I'll press F8. Instead of going, if I press F5, earlier we have seen it has taken the control to some standard code. From there to come out, you have to press F7. Instead of doing all those things, just as a shortcut for the time being, I'm pressing F8, but more about F8 we'll talk later on. I'll press F8. I got the result. Product of two numbers is 345. So what is the difference we have observed between if and if else if and case and case? In case of if else if, conditions are cross-checked one after the other till one of the conditions is satisfied. In case of case and case, control will directly jump to what? Appropriate block. Suppose here I'll enter some value 8. Do we have when 8? No, I don't have when 8. The control will go to when others. So when I execute, I got the message, please enter choices 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Okay, so which is better? Case and case is better, na? Because directly the control is going to what? Appropriate block. But again, if else if also will use it, something like this. If you want to check any conditions in between, you have to use if and if. There is no other what? There is no alternative for this. I must use if and if only in this kind of things. Okay, so when you are writing this kind of logic, no one will tell us when to use if and if, when to use case and case. Depending on the requirement, we have to write. So I feel better, which is better, case and case is better, na? Because control is directly jumping to what? Appropriate when statement. That's what we are analyzed in the debugging. Yeah, any questions, please ask. And it is not compulsory that I have to give 1, 2, 3, 4 only. I can give any values. I can say when 10, when 35, when 6, whatever options you want to give. Yes, Sapna.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Understood. I repeat to everyone, in case when you're debugging, if you are going to standard code, for the next 2 months, ignore that. Don't try to understand. You cannot understand. Just press F7 till the control comes back to your program. You focus on the logic which you have written. Okay, after 2 months you will automatically understand the standard logic given by SAP. Okay, so I will tell you when to focus, because we require the knowledge of subroutines, function models, internal tables, okay, include programs, select queries, many things you have to discuss. After that, you will be in a position to understand something in the standard code, not everything again, something in the standard code. Okay, right. Yeah, any other queries? Yes, any questions, others? Take time to practice. Okay, practice as it is whatever I discussed, that will be more than sufficient. Okay, chalo then. So tomorrow what we'll do is, so today we have seen if else case and case. Okay, tomorrow we'll see the check statement and we'll get into what? Looping statements. We'll understand what is the difference between looping statements and conditional statements. Okay, chalo then. So I'll wind off. We'll meet tomorrow same time around 8:15. Thank you.